So we know that this plan has been delayed by what? At least 5 years. Remind our viewers again as to what happened, why there has been this delay.
Well, essentially we haven't had an actual delay in essence. What we've had is the non-finalization of whatever draft that has been there. So initially in 2010, after we had the finalization of the 2010 IRP, we then had an update in 2013. But the update, after going its public participation process, was then shelved when it was about to be presented to Cabinet.
And the reason, or the suspected reason?
No, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. But then, again, miraculously, after years and years of lobbying and campaigning, we got another update, another draft update, and the draft update was the 2016-2017 one, which we got, which was the quite recent one. And that in itself as well didn't say that it was going to be promulgated or anything. So this IRP essentially is an update of an update of another update that never got finalized.
Well, it is here now, and again, confirming a lot of things that we've known already. Yeah. It says 12 years, but from studies that the government itself, had commissioned, we know that we knew that we didn't need nuclear, for example, for another 20 years.
Well, well, I think we could say that it would be for longer. It's inappropriate at this point in time, and as you said, from the studies, it shows that it's not needed anytime soon.
Wind and gas challenging coal for dominance, I suppose a good move. But isn't there a reality that we have an abundance of coal?
Well, we are a country abundant with natural resources, all kinds of natural resources. And through our development of beneficiating some of these resources, namely coal, we've learned that there are implications. And these implications are negative, mostly. Obviously, there have been positive ones. That we are at the stage where we are in the world and in terms of our development because of coal, but it has negative externalities, issues around health, issues around the greater planetary presence concerning climate change, and more closer to heart, especially for people in the Eastern and Western Cape and Northern Cape, is the issue around water. So coal has a lot of issues around when you use it, but also other technologies may have those problems because there is no technology without its issues. But the problem is that these problems that are coming from coal are far too big to keep on using it at the scale that we're using it.
Now, there's still going to be this detailed technical analysis of how much is in fact going to be required now, but also beyond the 12-year period that, what should the public be doing now?
Well, the public should be looking at the price they're paying for electricity, that's the one thing, and think about when they're commenting or looking at this plan, because I would actually think that people should be looking at this plan. Read the plan, look at the price that you're paying for electricity, and see which technologies, if you were given a choice, would reflect a price if you pay for electricity that is far less than what we're paying now. A lot of South Africans are complaining, and I'm one of them, about the price of electricity being too much and rising too quickly. But what we can also do is that in the decisions that we're about to make about the greater supply industry of electricity in South Africa, we can then choose the right technologies that will reflect a good price for us to be able to pay off.
This, of course, also has huge implications for a company like Eskom.
Oh, big ones. It has to now decide whether it's going to be buying renewable energy or it's only going to be focusing on coal and nuclear. Is it going to participate in the coal, in the gas sector as well? So its end state is also a big question as well. How is it going to be able to compete with the new industry players as well?
But of course, that's not to say other than looking at how much people want to, or what are the best prices and they will come, and from which technology they will come. But it's also about monitoring this sector to ensure that the problems we've seen coming out of Eskom, the problems we've seen through the various state-capped forms of state capture do not come through. Because, if wind or gas, is the new technology, then we should make sure that there's no corruption or abuse within those as well.
Agreed. I think the idea that technologies and the processes that help them to be deployed in a country would enable rent-seeking is a big problem. we should be looking out for such issues. We should be looking out for concerns of the environment. We should be looking out at the greater transformation debate around what should be deployed. So the societal issues as well as the social concerns that we have will not be lost when we look at this plan. I think anybody who reads this plan should be looking at it from their sphere of influence, should be looking at it at what best can it reflect out of what South Africa wants up to 2030.
Not only comment, but of course also actively participate and actually try to influence decision, because that's what big industry does. They don't sit and send a little piece of paper.
Of course, they lobby. They lobby at all levels, and I think as civil society, ordinary citizens, we are able to also play that role. Also looking ahead into the elections, that's one way we can show how we are engaging with this whole process and leverage, yes, our participation. But there are other ways, and we're more than happy to advise on how.
Okay. Happy Khambule, thank you very much for your time. He's a senior political advisor for Greenpeace Africa.